and we will meet soon with you guys. Thank you.
Okay, sir. We heard that you have get married 2 days ago. So we say,
Yeah, I am just married right now, and thank you for your congratulations to me. And inshallah, and in the future, I will bring my wife in Makassar and stay there. And yeah, sometimes go and back to Pekanbaru for celebrating the Idul Fitri, inshallah.
yes, sir. For the second session, we will give to Wahyu. Oh, Kak Adia. So I think our second interviewer get a big connection, so we will take it back. So, sir, we think there must always be unforgettable experience while studying in our department, right? In our department, when you as a bachelor student, maybe you can share a little bit. Could you share your experience to us when you study in our department, when you as a bachelor student, like us now?
Okay. Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah wa ba'd. Thank you for having me. First, I would like to thank you all to inviting me in this interview for gaining something insightful for you guys. And for the question is, what was my experience during my study when I took my bachelor of degree in the same department with you guys, which is ICP program. And during that time, my father is a coordinator of ICP. As you know, Pak Hisham is my father and the coordinator of the very first program. And at that time, we have tutorial in Saturday and Sunday. So all of the day in my class, we have a lot of program, especially for supporting our English, and we have international speaker, international lecturer with English format from Australia. So at that time, we are very, very difficult to understand what he said to us. So during the lecture, we all the students so boring and yeah, like loading. And for facilitate, um, we have class and for education regular, they have no AC, yeah, AC, and only ICP have the special class, yeah, and we paid around 2.2 million per semester. I think this is my very little bit experience.
Okay, yes, sir. Maybe for this one, I will give our second interviewer, Kak Adia.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Kak Adia still have maybe back connection. So I think I am the next interviewer. So yes, so sir, I want to ask to you. So can you tell us a little bit about your research in this answer, when you when you still a bachelor student, sir, can you tell us
Oh, okay.
about?
Regarding my skripsi,
Yes, sir. Skripsi,
my
sir.
research. No.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, as you know, for bachelor degree, we don't have a very strict research titles to be conducted in class because we don't have a research program. Yeah, unlike with my master and PhD degree, especially for my PhD, I took full research program, which is there is no class for mathematics field. Only research methodology, critical analysis, uh, apalagi, and Malay language, how to write thesis. There is no geometry thinking. There is no, so all of the mathematics regarding mathematics field that I took is from myself to looking for from journal to study. But my bachelor of degree, I conducted my research in cooperative study, which is articulation cooperative study. Yeah, which is I separate or I made a group in the classroom consisted of two students, and they study each other, and one students their peer, yeah, teach other peers, and so I observed what happened with the students when they uh, teach their students, their peers, and from that activities, I can conclude that based on the activities in the group, which is telling what they know to their friends, increasing the confidence, increasing the deep of knowledge of such materials in a lesson plan that I design for them. That's my research area for my bachelor of degree. But I think this is not preferable resources for you to sign or to read because my degree, my skripsi uh, only practical. We for the first time conducted the research, carried out the research, how to conduct the research, how to write the introduction, problem background, but there is no the critical review for the writing during that time. But when I took my master and PhD under supervisor of Prof. Saleh Abu, which is Malaysian, the expert of mathematics education, I am very punch, punch my head because they are he was very critical for the writing thesis, how to make the statement, how to critique the others research for our research. I think this is my opinion. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, sir. The answer.
Yeah.
Okay. Nikah lagi. Terdengar
Ya,
suara
campur-campur
aku?
juga tidak apa-apa.
Maaf dulu mau bertanya. Terdengar suara aku?
Ya.
Soalnya tidak
Your
bagus
voice
jaringan.
very
Oh,
clear.
iya. And the next, as a student, of course, if you get a scholarship to study abroad. So can you tell about the angle you have gone through to get a scholarship, sir?
Okay. I actually didn't receive any scholarship when I took my master. Yeah, I fall out several times when I applied a scholarship for master, and very limited resources during that time when I want to apply a scholarship. Yeah, such as LPDP. Yeah, and in Malaysia we have Malaysian scholarship, Malaysian International Scholarship. You cannot MIS, Malaysian International Scholarship, but the requirement is very high, such as IELTS 6.5, like the UK. So if you get a 6.5 IELTS, I recommend you to apply in UK, not in Malaysia, but the requirement is very same. But when I took my master, I don't any resources, any aid resources of financial. So my parents covering my financial aid only for 3 semesters, because I took my master only 3 semesters, which is 1.5 years, and I graduated with the excellence of students. Like, you know, in Malaysia, there is no system like Indonesia, like cum laude, because cum laude, summa cum laude is the system by American style. But Malaysia overall adopted UK system, UK curriculum, UK, UK curriculum. So we study like in UK. Yeah, because most of the lecturer from UK graduated from UK, program by their government, sending their young researcher, young lecturer to study abroad in UK, US sometimes, but little bit. When they come back in Malaysia, they bring their style like UK, speak like UK, and we writing in British. So I really suggest you, if you want to study in Malaysia, you can starting from now your British style or your IELTS. Yeah. When I ask Malaysian, my friends, oh, what is the difficult between IELTS and TOEFL? They say, yeah, TOEFL is very difficult than IELTS. Yeah, compared to us Indonesian, yeah, TOEFL is very easy to understand because mostly grammar. Yeah, but in Malaysia, IELTS, especially IELTS, speaking, writing, reading, and listening, yeah, mostly in British accent and with the vocabulary of British. Like truck is American, but in British, lorry. I think that's all. So, additional information regarding scholarship, I applied LPDP, but I am failed in interview session because I didn't prepare how to respond the reviewer, the reviewer, how to eye contact, because you know I am from LDK FSRI and the interviewer is women and I didn't see their eyes, but in when we in interview session, it is not advisable if you didn't see the eyes of the interviewer. So this is the challenge for us ya, seperti itu. Jadi I fail and for applying to UNJ, University Negeri Jakarta, for measurement and evaluation study program. But I failed, so I go to Yogyakarta to apply in UNY, University Negeri Yogyakarta. Yeah, but I fail again. So my mother advised me to why you don't apply in Malaysia, because during my time Gubernur Pak Syahrul Yassin Limpo have 500 doctoral program scholarship. Ya, because they berjanji bahwa dia akan menyekolahkan sampai 500 doktor ke luar negeri. Yeah, most of them in Malaysia and most of them in UTM. Yeah, so why I in UTM? Because so many people, bapak-bapak, ibu-ibu, and some of our lecturer in UNM, Pak Abdi, Pak Zaid, Pak Firdaus, Pak siapa lagi namanya lupa. Itulah intinya. Seperti itu.
Okay, thanks the answer, sir. Next, Wahyu.
Oh yes, sir. So I just want to memastikan, sir. So you didn't get a scholarship, sir, with in your S2, sir?
Yeah, but in PhD I received the scholarship.
Oh yes, sir. So may you can share to us, may you can give us advice as a student who want to get a scholarship, maybe what we need to prepare to ourselves to get a scholarship, sir.
Yeah, first of all, you have to prepare by now your English. Yeah, your English. English is a must for you in a general background, not Islamic background, for general background. Yeah, even you tarbiyah misalnya and speak bahasa Arab, but you are in mathematics background. And if you want to study abroad, English is a must. Even in King Saud University, because I have a friend from King Saud University study in UTM, and we are very close each other because they are pure Arab Arab Saudi ya, lahir di Madinah ya. Tapi ambil jurusan teknologi pendidikan ya in UTM. So English is a must. First of all, you have to prepare by now your English, not until you graduate. Yeah. From now, speak in every day. You speak in English. Even you have a broken grammar like me now. I have, yeah, because like if I want to speak in Bugis misalnya, we didn't think about grammar of Bugis. We didn't think about how to SPO misalnya in bahasa. But speaking is like you understand, I understand, that's all. Yeah, for the first time, how to study English. Yeah, because the baby, you know, baby or child speak. There is nothing about grammar, but we are starting from grammar. We study English in SD, SMP, SMA until now. But why we have so many difficult? We cannot speak like American, like British, because we are starting from grammar, not starting from how to what the phrase the American used. Yeah, seperti itu. Jadi first you have to prepare IELTS or a TOEFL, but I prefer you study from now IELTS ya, walaupun mahal, very costing. The second one is you have to know what your purpose after this, what you want to be. Yeah. In my case, I want to be a president. I want to contribute to the society from my background, which is becoming a teacher or lecturer. Yeah, that's why I have to study until PhD program. And as soon as possible, inshallah, becoming professor in the young age, so that I can maximize my contribution to the society. And before I achieve my goal at that age, from now I have to plan my milestone, what or how to achieve, to reach my goal at that way. So from study and from joining the organization, because organization have the broad networking, especially in overseas. That's supporting me if I want to become a president or governor in Sulawesi Selatan, inshallah. I think that also choose what your plan after graduate. Are you want to be becoming a lecturer or teacher or entrepreneur? If you want to become an entrepreneur, it is not good for you to study, continuing your study, because entrepreneur is more about practice. Yeah, and take the certification program. Ya, misalnya business coach dan seterusnya. Nah, itu kayak gitu. Tapi kalau mau jadi lecturer atau teacher or researcher, it is good for you to study, continuing your study in master or PhD degree. Depend on your purpose, your goal. Only two. Then after you decide your goal, you choose what countries you want to know and easily possibility to apply and get. Yeah, like ISBD, yeah, ISBD, Islamic Development Bank, open from February, sometimes in February until April, and they provide scholarship for all field of background, yeah, including education, curriculum, assessment and evaluation. For poor country like Indonesia to study abroad in developing country, yeah, like Malaysia, like UK, yeah, like in Singapore, and so on and so forth. Yeah, so or Turkey. Turkey juga ada beasiswa, Turkey scholarship, but you have to study Turkey, yeah, bahasa Turki, yeah. But in Malaysia, most of the language is English, yeah, English. I think that's all for you guys. Very simple advice, but the point. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. You're sharing about how to prepare scholarship, and you add the important things about the goals that we have. And before that, maybe you can you share about why you choose University Technology of Malaysia according to pursue your goals, why you choose this university, and what you expected to get more insight while you're when you want to go there.
Okay. In my black history, yeah, my black history. in my sad story, yeah, I have applied in Australia and in Turkey and in so many countries. Yeah, not only in Malaysia actually, but but Malaysia offering me for the first time. So I ngurus my visa, and other country come come later. So why Malaysia? Yeah, because Malaysia is responding me very fast to study in, especially in UTM. Yeah, UTM, UKM, and UM. I applied uh, uh, in three universities, which is University Technology Malaysia, University Kebangsaan Malaysia, and University of Malaya. But UTM is for the very fast response for LOA, yeah, letter of accepting. Yeah, that's why I choose UTM. That's why I am in UTM, not because UTM is good, no, because yeah, three of them universities good. Three of them is good. Besides, there is alumni, not alumni. There is a PhD students from Makassar also in UKM, in UTM. Yeah, most of them in UTM. Around 200 people. Yeah, 200 people from Makassar in UTM. So, ya supaya selamat, ya for my first time in go abroad. Yeah, so I choose Malaysia. And during the selama perjalanan ya, UTM especially for education program is for the first in Malaysia, and in 155 in the world, versi QS ranking. Ya, itu jadi seperti itu. Dan in UTM, because UTM is university research, you know there is a level of university in Malaysia. There is a teaching university in UPSI, Universitas Pendidikan Sultan Idris, and there is a research university like my campus. So when I enter in the research university, most of the assignment aimed all of the students to produce the paper and submit to the journal. That's why all of the university research have a lot of research, have a strong basic research in journal, in writing an article journal, writing the thesis, writing the dissertation, not for teaching university. Teaching university more depend on how to conduct teaching in classroom. But in my point of view, in research university, we can see how the teacher conducted the material in classroom. So from that we can study also how they make the lesson plan to conduct it to implement in the classroom in Malaysia. Yeah, of course in Malaysia. Yeah, I think that's all.
Okay, so this university is more in research, right? But this still have impact to plan in our education. That's what we want to discover it. So my question next is, what's your focus on your study in this University Technology of Malaysia, and why you choose that department?
Okay, my department is mathematics education, because as you know, my goal is as soon as possible becoming a professor. One of the requirement to become how to become a professor in young age is the linearitas, ya, linearity, yeah, from degree mathematics education, master mathematics education, and PhD mathematics education. Yeah, but you know, I'm very boring to study mathematics education because along my journey, I am very interested with statistical. I'm very interested with evaluation. I am very I'm very interested with the technology of education. This is very interesting to study because, but as you know, our system is only rigid. Yeah, rigid, rigid, sangat kaku. So I took mathematics education, so that it is easily for me to apply a professor. Why I choose? Yeah, because that reason. The second one is my specific field in my research, my master and PhD is about metacognition in mathematics, especially in geometry. My master is uh, 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 carry out in statistic, maybe, yeah, in statistic. But in PhD, I moved to the geometry, but still in mathematics, in metacognition. Yeah, metacognition, especially for PhD, mathematics and Van Hill, yeah, Van Hill model. Yeah, why Van Hill model? Because Van Hill model is the expert recognition expert in 1970 and producing the leveling for how the child learn geometry. That's why so far I didn't know who else the expert producing the leveling of the geometric thinking. But Van Hill, yes. But Van Hill, so in my PhD, I study metacognition and Van Hill model. But in master, I study metacognition and reasoning skill. Yeah, reasoning skill, because reasoning skills is one of the trend trend and issue in mathematics education for 21st century. Yeah, students have to reasoning why they calculate, why they choose their way to solve the problem. Yeah, that's why I study about reasoning skill from the perspective of metacognition. So my expert is metacognition and reasoning skill and geometry thinking, especially in Van Hill model, as well as because my campus is research university. Alhamdulillah, I have the strong basic or not basic, advanced research skill, like how to conduct the methodology, how to see the problem background with the critical view, and how to write like international paper accepted by Scopus and Web of Science. I think that's my opinion. Zulkifli.
Thank you, sir. Wow, there is more insight that we get about new, 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 ya nama baru ya, about model-model that have learned is so different, like metacognitive use reasoning skill and geometry thinking use Van Hill model is new for us to hear it. Thank you for your sharing about this research. Maybe next I give to Kak Adia. Oh, I think maybe dia is get bad connection. So I will continue.
Oh, yes,
okay.
Sorry. While staying in Malaysia, you must have feel obstacle, and how you when struck them.
Sorry, I didn't get your question.
Hambatan, sir.
Obstacle.
Yeah.
Obstacle. Barrier. Yeah. Obstacle.
Yeah. Obstacle. And
Hambatan ya.
kan pasti selama belajar di sana, Sir, pasti kayak di Malaysia itu pasti ada hambatan yang dilalui, dan bagaimana Bapak bisa lalui faktor penghambat itu? Bagaimana caranya?
Okay. Okay, everyone who took the study must have obstacle. Yeah. In my case in Malaysia, my first obstacle is language barrier. Yeah, because most of the Malaysian speak mix. Yeah, speak mix, which is campur-campur, Malay and English. Yeah, Malaysian version not like we speak in Indonesia, but you kat mana? Daripada mana? And it's very fast. So that's the challenge for me to how to recognize what they say. Yeah, sometimes can you see it? Can you say it in English? Sometimes English is very fast, and British accent. So I'm very difficult. So sometimes I'm using body language, body language to understand what they mean. Yeah, sometimes like semalam, you kat mana? Ya, semalam tuh maksudnya ya adalah kemarin, bukan semalam maksudnya malam hari itu. Jadi so many vocabularies different with Indonesian, like bisa. Bisa is not allowed, but bisa is not can in Malay language, but bisa is toxic from snake. Yeah, bisa ular. But in Malay, all of them using boleh. Saya boleh makan, saya bisa makan, boleh. Nah, semua boleh. But in Indonesian, boleh is more allow. In English, allow. I allow you to. Saya membolehkan kamu, boleh. Mengizinkan, ya, itu boleh. Tapi in Malay language, in Malay context, boleh is bisa. Ya, boleh is bisa. First is language barrier, and how to deal with English barrier. You have to speak frequently with Malaysian, with Malaysian and with international students, so that you can recognize what they mean about their conversation with us. That's the first. The second one is the curriculum, the way the lecturer teach us. Yeah, it's very different with Indonesian. Yeah, Indonesian very boring and sometimes creative, but in Malay, so be creative and student-centered learning, and not only we presenting, we creating a PowerPoint and we recorded our voice. No, it's very simple. In Malaysia, they creating the system like e-learning, and we have also some but applied nowadays. But during my study since 2016, we already using the e-learning, the e-learning in that year, and we're creating like I took STEM learning in Malaysia, and very cheerful activities, because we're creating program, not only asking what is your opinion, and most of the resources in English, and the lecturer show us the example of how American conducted the lecturer, how the UK conducted the lecturer in context of Malaysia. There is example, not only ask what do you think, but there is no example before so that we can generating our knowledge, so that we can create something new. Yeah, but starting from example, starting from the instance, and so on and so forth. That's the second one barrier that I have to deal with, the education system. And the second one is the food. Yeah? The food, because food in Malaysia is not same with Indonesian, because in Malaysia most of the food mix or mixing with Indian style, yeah, Indian taste, yeah, like roti canai, ya, kari-karinya itu semua adalah dari India, tapi orang Malaysia sudah terbiasa dengan itu, but we have to deal with ya, terpaksa makan gitu ya, seperti itu. Ya, still a lot of barrier, but no big issue. Comparing what I mentioned before. Yeah, thank you. Adia.
Thanks. Yeah, thank you, sir. The answer. But and in your opinion, what is the difference between education in Malaysia and Indonesia? In your opinion,
Okay.
sir?
Yeah. What is the difference is, first is the curriculum. Curriculum meaning that they preparing their students, their graduate students, to become a researcher. So all of the assignment is producing the article. Yeah, all of the subjects. At the end of the study, producing article. Yeah, that's why we are very familiar with article. How to critics familiar. Not depend on the coursework. Yeah, coursework is like you have apa itu, peperiksaan, tes, yeah, and yeah, finish. No. But the process is more important in master and PhD degree. When I took my master and PhD, the system. The second one is how the supervisor treat us. Yeah, in Indonesia we have to stay in front of the room of our supervisor. Supervisor is pembimbing, ya, supervisor. And we don't know how when our supervisors come. But in Malaysia, we have to make appointment before. Like I said, when we appoint at 10 p.m. So when you come late 1 minute, you will be called. You will be called by your supervisor. Where are you? Now is at 10 p.m. At 10 a.m. Jadi most lecturer in Malaysia, especially in my campus, very strict with time and very on time. Selesai mengajar, ya, finishing their study on time. Yeah. Come on time and finish on time, even the material is not yet finished. Yeah, because we have very strict with the time. I think itu ya.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Thank you, sir. And then next question.
Okay, so the difference between Malaysia and Indonesia, we said about the curriculum. So curriculum and the professor is very strict us. So so sir, the curriculum in Malaysia is the curriculum in Malaysia can be applicable in Indonesia, sir. the curriculum in Malaysia, the education curriculum in Malaysia can be applicable in Indonesia or not, sir?
Oh, applicable. Oh,
Yes, sir.
applicable. Yeah, very applicable if you want to become a researcher. Yeah, if you want to become a teacher, it is also good, but not in UTM, but in UPSI. UPSI is like UNM, yeah, university for teachers. Yeah, but in my context, we want to become a lecturer and researcher, and most of the activities in becoming lecturer is research. Yeah, not honestly in lecture, yeah, or teaching in classroom, but how to prepare the student becoming a teacher. So we create the teaching environment, and we make a exhibition in terms of education, delivering education, and innovative in innovation in education. And for your information, during my master, I entered the exhibition in innovation in teaching and learning, and we received, yeah, we won a gold medal because of our product producing teaching aid to teach about number, ya, in primary school, ya, seperti itu.
So the curriculum in Malaysia it's more about researcher, sir.
No, research is the final goal, but the curriculum is the content of curriculum is like more about teaching, more about education. For example, curriculum in 3 different countries, one subject. Trend and issue, one subject. Kemudian research methodology in education, but during my degree, sometimes from pure mathematics come in my class teaching about research methodology. This is very different. The resources, the book we prepare is behavioral statistic. Yeah, jadi statistic for behavioral social science, not for pure, because very different. If you want to conduct research methodology, research in education, we have to refer from social science background, not for pure. But in UNM context, I don't know nowadays itu masih campur-campur, ya, masih dicampur antara murni dan pendidikan. Padahal in Malaysia mostly 100% curriculum, the subject we take is regarding education, mathematics education, reasoning skill, creative thinking, geometry thinking. Nah, itu yang semua kita pelajari. Algebraic thinking, statistical thinking, computational thinking, technology in education. Nah, semua yang berkaitan dengan pendidikan. Itu mungkin. Wahyu.
Yes. Oh, okay, sir. So the curriculum about the education, and the goal of the curriculum is to make researcher.
Yeah, researcher.
Okay. So by the way, talk about researcher, sir. What are you research now, sir?
Okay, still regarding in my doctoral degree background, which is in geometry thinking and metacognition. I have produced, alhamdulillah, 2 scopus, but revealed in July, key 2 scopus and key 4 scopus. And now I am writing still in metacognition and Van Hill model of geometric thinking for the next journal.
Okay, So you still in research about mental condition and that's it. I think lanjut ke Zul. Silahkan Zul.
Okay, so as people who will spend more your time and make a better education, do research and analyze trends and try to fix the issue. Maybe my next question is when you are students, you are combine your struggle in focus on your study and your education, and also you join in organization like lembaga dakwah kampus. Maybe you can share about why you combine that in your study time. Maybe it can be more motivation for us, especially for me and Wahyu.
Oh yeah. So actually, hobby is entering in organization. Yeah, my hobby. Yeah. Not like others. Hobby is gaming, hang out. But my hobby is joining the organization and contributing. Yeah. From SMA, I starting from SMA, becoming a head of OSIS, ketua OSIS. Then entering the university, bachelor degree in UNM, becoming a ketua LDK FSRI, and master. We joining in postgraduate student society, ya, atau persatuan mahasiswa pasca sarjananya di sana. In as vice president, and my PhD, during my PhD, I'm joining in PI, Persatuan Pelajar Indonesia, in UTM as a president, as well as in Malaysia, Malaysia, as a president as well, because that's my hobby. The second one is because I want to learn and gain the networking. Yeah, the networking means how others of each other, how others organizing the event in local and international scale, and as a student we have a course, we have a main course to be finished, and how I manage is about time management, because when we entering in working world dan dunia kerja, organization experience is very useful. That's why I joining not only in Islamic organization but also in general organization, like Persatuan Pelajar Indonesia, because they open our mind, open our mindset, and very more experience you can get, like how to conduct international conference from organization, and and then regarding time management is about deadline. It's about deadline, meaning that if you don't have deadline, you will be procrastinate, or you will become procrastination, selalu menunda-nunda, because you don't have plan, you don't have deadline. How to get the deadline is by joining the organization, because in organization so many timeline, so many activities that you have to enter, you have to join, you have to be responsible to conduct, and by that you have a deadline to your course. I have to finish as soon as possible before the organization activities come. That's why I'm joining in the organization. That's how I manage my time between my class and my organization. And the third one is how to learn from expert. Yeah, you have to search the expert that they are only focused in their course. Ya, like my friend, sangat pintar di matematika, semua bidang di geometri. Saya ya kadang-kadang langsung. So how I fast with them is datang ke rumahnya, ya, dan belajar dari dia. Setelah itu bergelombang suara. Ya, seperti itu. No voice. No voice.
Okay, my voice is clear.
Mungkin bisa di mute dulu. Kak Dea-nya mungkin bisa di mute dulu. Yes, sir. About your explanation, that's sir. Actually, that's our problem now, sir. About the deadline. Ya, kami kadang suka menunda deadline. Kadang malam sebelum deadline-nya dikumpul baru dikerjakan. Actually, that's our problem now. So, sir, maybe this question about education in Indonesia, sir. So, what are the challenges faced by our country to be able to advance the education, sir?
What are the challenges to be explained?
What are the challenges faced by our country to be able to advance the education?
Oh, to extend, untuk memperluas ya. The
To
education.
Untuk mungkin supaya pendidikan kita lebih baik, sir. To advance.
Oh ya. Gimana ya? Because I left Indonesia for almost 6 years, yeah. and I don't know what happened in Indonesia regarding the education system and the education program, especially in UNM. I think that there is a radical reformation changes in education system in Indonesia since Nadiem Makarim appointed as Minister of Education. Yeah, I hope so. Like in Indonesia, like in Malaysia. But how to increase our system to be the same? I think we have to have the standard. Yeah, the standard is from TIMSS and PISA, I think, because we can assess our system education by the result, I think, but it's not fully true. Yeah, but that's our system education, how to be assessed from PISA and TIMSS. And as you know, Indonesia is still in low level of education based on TIMSS and PISA. As you heard before, PISA is, ya saya tidak tahu ya kepanjangannya PISA, but you can type PISA in Google and TIMSS, TIMMS, ya TIMSS and PISA. And Indonesia is still in low. and Singapore, Japan is on the top. Yeah. The second one is about how the teacher and lecturer delivering their material. Because guru adalah yang digugu dan ditiru. Ya. Ketika guru memberikan teladan yang baik, showing the good deeds, ya, murid akan 2 kali lipat dari itu. Sekiranya guru kencing berdiri, maka murid akan kencing berguling-guling, berlari, ya, seperti itu. Jadi it's more about you as prospect teacher, ya. How you look like as a teacher, that's make an impactful changes for our education. Education is not about only system, but about imitating, ya, about apa ya, meniru, ya, itu. Jadi seperti itu. Like, ya, I am in Malaysia. In Malaysia, the content, how mathematics delivering in the student is contextual. Contextual mean starting from problem in their daily life, not about calculating. In our system, it's about calculating procedural problem. Not, you can see in lapangan sepak bola, mana di situ yang segi 4, mana di situ yang segi 3. Kalau orang menendang dengan kecepatan sekian, berapa hitungannya? Bagaimana supaya bisa cepat gol? Itu kontekstual. Kalau in Dutch system, namanya PMRI, ya. Apa kepanjangannya itu? Yang Kak Husnul itu punya sering sebut-sebut itu, ya. Lupa saya, kepanjangannya itu PMRI, ya. Itulah kira-kira, kalau ada yang tahu itu. Yang Kak Husnul punya itu, yang dari Belanda, itu hanya dari Belanda itu. Yang lain tidak dikenal itu. Di negara lain kayak di Malaysia itu nggak dikenal, ya. Tapi intinya adalah tentang contextual problem, contextual learning, ya. Atau meaning of learning. Jadi student itu tidak ada meaning dalam belajar matematika. Kita harus sebagai guru, kita juga harus memaknai kenapa kita harus belajar matematika. For example, I have a YouTube channel in Islamisasi pendidikan matematika. Islamisasi pendidikan matematika. Why mathematics can support the Islamic view? Like how to know that Allah turun ke langit dunia di sepertiga malam. Ada kata sepertiga. If the students don't know sepertiga, they don't know when that time. That's the meaning. Oh, penting. Oke, the volume. Ada namanya 1 mud. 1 mud minimal kita berwudu, kan? Air itu 1 mud baru dianggap sah. That's the volume. Calculating the volume. That's important. If you want to design the pattern of the arts in masjid, in mosque, you have to know expert in geometry, because segitiga itu kan geometri. Pola, kan? That's the meaning. I mean that the student do not lacking of the meaning. Why they should learn mathematics. Nah, itu mungkin.
Okay, sir. So, yeah, you also said about that our system is rigid, masih kaku, sir. And then to increase our education, teacher memiliki peran yang sangat besar, sir, untuk itu. Okay, I think Kak Dea, the next.
Yeah, whatever the curriculum, whatever the system curriculum, from kurikulum 98, KTSP, kemudian berubah lagi menjadi 2013. But the teacher is from 1980. There is no change, radical changes in our system, our education, to produce the 21st century learning and Indonesia emas, Indonesian gold in 2045. Yeah, no, cannot with the system only, but it's more with the teacher itself. Okay. What else?
Ya, oke, Sar. Menurut Pak Topak, kan sekarang ini setiap pembelajaran itu kita via online semua. Sebagai tenaga pendidik, apa yang sekarang ini dilakukan via online itu bisa tambah mencerdaskan siswa atau mahasiswa atau bagaimana? Dan kan sebagai tenaga pendidik itu biasa kita kan memberi pembelajaran itu via Zoom, dan itu belum tentu di mana semua itu siswa atau mahasiswa itu ikut semua. Dan kita sebagai tenaga pendidik bagaimana cara membuat semua siswa itu maupun mahasiswa itu paham tentang pembelajaran yang diberikan, dan dengan faktor yang gitu tidak masuk semua.
Okay, I have an idea for you if you want to conduct the research. The effectiveness of virtual learning. Ya, silakan buat penelitiannya. Itu bisa masuk Scopus kalau mau nanti kontak saya untuk kita bisa buat papernya sampai 5 halaman baru kita submit ke Scopus Journal. Itu bisa sekali. Kan pertanyaannya dia kan seberapa efektif pembelajaran virtual ini bisa siswa ini. Jadi saya ini di Riau ya, saya lihat beberapa orang tua itu ikut mengerjakan tugas anaknya.
Iya,
gitu.
Betul sekali.
Jadi yang pintar itu adalah orang tuanya ya. Nah, itu juga problem. Itu juga problem dan itu bisa jadi penelitian. Ya, bagaimana cara ngambil datanya? By interview, gampang saja. Nanti analisis interviewnya itu gampang. Atau by survei. Jadi buat kuesionernya, kemudian validasi, nanti kemudian disebar via Google atau via printout, atau dengan purposive sampling. Purposive sampling itu maksudnya kita khusus menyasar perspektif orang tua terhadap pembelajaran virtual ini, apakah melihat saking mencerdaskan anaknya atau tidak. Nanti hasilnya rekomendasi bagi penelitian selanjutnya. Nah, itu kan dapat lagi penelitian kan. Yang bisa jadi skripsi itu. Selesai sudah kalian nanti S1 gitu. Gampang kan? Gitu karena kami dilatih untuk how to see the environment and making the research gitu ya. Oke, jadi menurut saya ya, kalau kita hanya memindahkan ya, moving from conventional learning to virtual learning with the same style, like we explaining the material, there is no big impactful with virtual because sometimes they are offing their video yeah, and sleep and later on they open the tugas from their kawannya. Kan seperti itu. My suggestion is, with this situation, with the pandemic situation, with the virtual learning, you have to reform your way of teaching, which is I propose project-based learning. Actually, project-based learning, meaning that we assign the project for students so that they discover their environment, what is the mathematical, looking for the mathematical pattern, and then what the mathematical pattern in that material, and refer to the book by Kemendikbud to see what the relevant material so that they can solve the problem in environment. That's the project-based learning. That's why, jadi kita tidak perlu lagi ngajar berkocek kayak gini. Jadi misalnya apa geometri itu apa kayak begini, segitiga itu begini. Sudah, tidak perlu gitu. Langsung assign saja project, discover their environment, where the triangle facing by student, and why, berapa ukurannya. Jadi dia pergi mengukur. Oh jadi ukuran genteng rumah saya itu seperti ini. Itu. Kemudian dia sendiri yang hitung luasnya, itu sendiri volumenya itu. Nah, itu kan daripada kita explain luas itu begini, nah segitiga itu begini, nah pusing, tidak akan masuk ke kepalanya. Kecuali kita kasih dia tugas untuk project. Tugas pun berbeda-beda, bukan tugas. Oke, silakan catat nah halaman ini, silakan catat pelajari sendiri. Itu bukan juga tugas. Ya, tapi itu tadi yang saya bilang, buat aktivitas yang menyenangkan kepada mereka. Seperti as I said before, like project-based learning, then they solve the mathematical content in that material. I think that's all.
Okay. Oh. Okay, thank you, sir. Question in. Okay, thank you.
Sir.
Back to Sun.
Okay, maybe we have take your many times today. Maybe we can.
For young generation, I'm really happy to share my experience, my knowledge to the young generation.
Mashallah.
My future. You are our future country.
Okay, sir. For last statement, last question. If you have the chance to give penyampaian to the teacher in the world, what you want to say to them, and what your suggest for us as the students when we are focused in mathematics, that the goals is wanna be a professionalism in mathematics teacher too.
Okay.
Two last question.
Okay. Jadi the main problem in our system or mathematics education is about the meaning why we learn mathematics. So my suggestion is for all of the teacher and prospective teacher like you is to memaknai kenapa kita harus belajar matematika, apa yang membuat kita harus belajar matematika, hukum mempelajari matematika seperti apa, bagaimana teknologi bisa dikombin dengan pelajaran matematika supaya lebih menyenangkan, dan yang lebih penting adalah bagaimana belajar. Ya. Jadi kita membelajarkan siswa itu bukan hanya not only in mathematics content, but how they learn, about how they learning. Ya. So that after they graduate, ya, they have a skill of learning, ya. Jadi bagaimana ada istilah lifelong learning, itu bukan hanya kepada yang generasi muda, tetapi untuk semua kita, karena belajar itu sampai yang lahat. Kalau kita berhenti sampai S3 saja, like me, I stop my learning, so I cannot follow the trend and issue in mathematics education in the world. Ya, what the trends currently, ya. The current issue is about internet, ya, integrating internet in our system of learning and the technology used like GeoGebra in geometry, SketchUp Make, dan seterusnya. Jadi kalau kita tidak berusaha untuk belajar, meningkatkan diri, hanya memakai slide yang dari dulu-dulu yang dikasih sama senior, ya, maka kita tidak akan bergerak dan mengarah perubahan. Contohnya nih, saya kan ada kelas analitik geometri. Saya tanya, referensinya apa, Pak? Apa jawabannya? Oh, ini dari Pak Bahar. Pak Bahar itu sudah lama. Allahu Akbar. Jadi sudah tahun 80-70 itu terus bukunya. Ya sudah, saya nanti berusaha coba cari alternatif way to learn analytic geometry and STEM learning, ya. Jadi saya belajar STEM learning dari Malaysia. Jadi itu tadi inovasi. Jadi inovasi itu dalam Islam itu namanya bid'ah. Jadi bid'ah dalam hal dunia itu boleh, bahkan dianjurkan ya. Jadi making innovation in our education system is must ya. Jadi itu berusaha, bersedia, willingness to change, itu yang penting. The mindset of the teacher is willingness to change and willingness to improving their study, their skill. Even they becoming a teacher, even you are student, even me as a lecturer, yeah, I have to still learning and bersedia untuk tetap belajar dan tidak merasa saya lebih pintar daripada antum, ya. Saya tidak berarti saya lebih banyak ilmunya daripada kalian kalau ketika nanti diskusi di kelas. Sometimes I learn a lot from you when you are discussing a specific topic. Ya, bahkan saya belajar dari situ dan I have to acknowledge you. Ya, but karena saya juga belajar gitu. Saya hanya unggul karena lebih duluan lahir gitu di zaman saya. Tapi seiring perkembangan waktu, perubahan sudah berubah banyak. Saya sudah meninggalkan 6 tahun Malaysia. Dan ketika saya 6 tahun Indonesia. Ketika nanti pulang, ya mungkin sudah banyak perubahan yang luar biasa. Seperti di belakang saya ini, perubahannya luar biasa. And you guys sangat melek dengan internet dan pembelajaran yang bersifat daring. Ya, kami masih konvensional, gitu. Tapi kami harus belajar. Thank you. Itu mungkin saja dari saya. Pesannya adalah tetap bersedia untuk belajar dan tetap bersedia untuk berubah. Karena sistem perubahan pendidikan sangat cepat berubahnya, dan kalau bisa jangan resources-nya hanya Indonesia konteks, tapi coba typing in English so that you can see a lot of resources from overseas. You can read and write and adopt in ICP program. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for your time today. Your sharing. We had conduct a best interview. We made a best role in front of us. So we have big motivation next to focus in education actually and mathematics, and to be take our goals to best in education, be a better teacher. Maybe it's from us, sir. We really had an honorable to meet you this day. Speechless. Yes, sir. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah. We close our interview today. Maybe with doa. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdik asyhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.